5. Donna Fitchett and the deaths of her sons, Australia, 2005. The discovery of the crime. On the morning of September 6, 2005, emergency responders arrived at the Fitchett residence in Baldwin, a suburb of Melbourne, Australia. It was a quiet neighborhood, family-oriented, well-kept, and not the sort of place where violent crime was expected. The scene they encountered was one of tragedy and confusion. Inside the home, authorities found the lifeless bodies of two boys, 11-year-old Thomas and 9-year-old Matthew Fitchett. Both boys were discovered in their beds, tucked under blankets, giving the initial impression that they had simply gone to sleep and never woken up. However, it soon became clear that they had been intentionally drugged and suffocated during the night. Donna Fitchett, the boys' mother and a trained nurse, was also present at the scene. She had taken a non-lethal overdose in an apparent suicide attempt and was still alive when responders arrived. She was disoriented, groggy, and in emotional distress. The children's father, Dr. Mark Fitchett, a medical doctor, had been away from the house during the incident and was the one who raised the alarm upon returning home. The discovery stunned the Melbourne community. Donna had been viewed as a devoted mother and intelligent, articulate woman. The quiet household had shown no prior signs of danger. But the calm surface masked a deep psychological struggle that would soon come to light in courtrooms and headlines across Australia. This section provides a factual account of how the crime scene was discovered, who was involved, and what was found. It serves as a starting point for understanding the timeline and events that followed this tragic double filicide. Background of Donna Fitchett. Donna Fitchett was, by all outward appearances, a capable and loving mother. She worked as a nurse and was married to Mark Fitchett, a respected doctor. The couple lived in a stable middle-class home and were active members of their local church and school communities. Donna was known to be attentive to her children and supportive of their academic and extracurricular lives. Educated and articulate, she was seen by friends and family as calm, warm, and intelligent. However, underneath the public persona was a woman struggling with significant internal distress. Her marriage had reportedly grown strained, and she had begun experiencing symptoms of anxiety and depression. Those close to her would later testify that she appeared to be emotionally fragile and overwhelmed in the months leading up to the crime. There were no prior reports of domestic violence or mental health crises requiring intervention. The Fitchett family presented an image of success and stability. But Donna's journal entries and later psychological evaluations revealed the depth of her despair. She reportedly felt trapped, fearful of losing her family, and was preoccupied with religious guilt and apocalyptic thinking. This section lays the groundwork for understanding who Donna Fitchett was prior to the murders, her role as a mother, her mental state, and the environment in which she lived. It emphasizes that from the outside, there were few, if any, visible warning signs that something so horrific could occur. Mental health and personal struggles. At the core of this case was Donna Fitchett's deteriorating mental health. Though she had no official diagnosis prior to the murders, court documents and expert testimony later revealed that she was suffering from a major depressive episode, compounded by a complex mix of religious delusions and existential despair. Donna had expressed fears about the world ending and had written about protecting her sons from suffering. She believed that death would be better for them than growing up in what she saw as a morally collapsing society. In one of her journal entries, she reportedly wrote about saving her sons and sending them to heaven. These writings would become central to understanding her mental state and motivations. Psychologists who later assessed her described a woman in emotional crisis, overwhelmed by anxiety and feelings of failure. She was also deeply religious and appeared to have internalized a belief that she was protecting her sons by ending their lives. Though she had considered suicide, she feared what would happen to the boys if she were gone. In her twisted logic, she decided it was best to take them with her. Despite the clarity of these beliefs in hindsight, Donna Fitchett's decline went largely unnoticed by those around her. There were no major outbursts, no incidents that prompted intervention. Her emotional withdrawal and increasing isolation were subtle, masked by her outward functionality and professional background. This section focuses on the psychological elements that contributed to the crime. It highlights the importance of understanding mental illness, particularly when masked by high-functioning behavior, and how untreated depression and delusional thinking can lead to catastrophic outcomes. Legal proceedings and trial. Following her recovery from the attempted overdose, Donna Fitchett was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. The trial, held in the Supreme Court of Victoria, drew significant media attention due to the disturbing nature of the crime and the complex psychological dimensions involved. Her defense team argued that she had been in a state of severe mental disturbance at the time of the killings and was not fully responsible for her actions. Expert witnesses were brought in to testify that she suffered from a depressive illness with psychotic features, including delusions that convinced her she was protecting her children from future harm. Prosecutors, however, challenged this view. They argued that the calculated nature of the crime, drugging the boys and then smothering them, demonstrated planning and awareness. They pointed to the fact that Donna had left behind a note explaining her actions and that she had made decisions that showed a degree of rational thought, such as ensuring her own overdose would not be fatal. The trial became a contest between legal interpretations of intent versus mental illness. Was Donna Fitchett acting out of love distorted by madness, or was she a calculating killer using mental illness as an excuse? In the end, the jury rejected the insanity defense. Donna was found guilty of the murders of her 2 sons. The verdict reflected the belief that, despite her mental state, she was capable of understanding that what she did was wrong. This section details the courtroom proceedings, the arguments made by both sides, and the ultimate legal decision. It reflects on how mental health is evaluated in a legal context and the difficulty of proving diminished responsibility. Sentencing and imprisonment. After her conviction, Donna Fitchett was sentenced to 27 years in prison, with a non-parole period of 18 years. The judge acknowledged her mental health struggles, but emphasized the severity and calculated nature of the crime. The court ruled that her depression and emotional distress did not excuse the deliberate killing of 2 young boys. In his sentencing remarks, the judge stated that the murders were calculated and premeditated, and that Donna had deprived the boys of their lives for no justifiable reason. The sentence aimed to reflect both the gravity of the crime and the need for public accountability. Donna was sent to a women's correctional facility, where she was placed in protective custody due to the high-profile nature of her crime. Reports from the Times suggest that she received ongoing psychiatric treatment while incarcerated. Her case continued to be cited in legal and mental health discussions across Australia. The sentence was seen by some as harsh, given the acknowledged presence of mental illness, while others felt it was appropriate given the loss of 2 innocent lives. This section covers the sentencing phase, the court's reasoning, and the public reactions to the outcome. It provides a factual account of Donna Fitchett's punishment and subsequent incarceration, avoiding moral judgment or speculation about her personal experiences in prison. Community reaction and media coverage. The murders of Thomas and Matthew Fitchett shocked the Melbourne community and drew national media attention. The case challenged many Australians' assumptions about what maternal love looks like and how mental illness can distort even the most fundamental instincts. Community members who had known the Fitchetts expressed disbelief, grief, and confusion. Teachers, neighbors, and church members all recalled Donna as a caring mother who was active in her sons' lives. The idea that she could kill them seemed incomprehensible. The media coverage of the case ranged from clinical reporting to deeply emotional features. News outlets examined every aspect of the family's life, the details of the crime and the court proceedings. The coverage was generally respectful but intense, with headlines emphasizing the tragic nature of the loss. Mental health advocates used the case to promote awareness of maternal depression and the importance of early intervention. Religious leaders issued statements cautioning against allowing personal guilt or apocalyptic fears to guide behavior, emphasizing compassion and community support. This section details how the community and national media responded to the case. It includes documented statements, reactions, and analysis, focusing on the societal impact of the crime without sensationalizing or speculating beyond verified facts. Broader implications and legal debate. The Donna Fitchett case raised important questions about the intersection of mental health, motherhood, and the law. It highlighted the challenges courts face when balancing compassion for mental illness with the need for justice and public safety. Legal scholars and psychologists debated the effectiveness of the insanity defense in Australia, questioning whether the legal definitions were too narrow to accommodate complex cases like Fitchett's. Some argue that her conviction showed a failure to fully understand the impact of untreated mental illness